Hi, my name's David, and I'm here to show you how to create a Shopify seller in Deskera. Now let's click on Books. Inside here it says, choose how you want to start your journey. Explore with a demo company, set up your company. Let's click Set up your company. Inside here we can change the name. We can change which country you're from. So for example, we can change which currency. We can change the financial year start date. And we can change the book beginning date. So what is book beginning date? Book beginning date means all the transactions or all the information that happened before this date is considered your openings. So this is where you're going to have to input your opening chart of accounts, input your opening stock levels, and import any invoices or bills that were created before this that have not been completed. Now the date does not have to be the first of the month. You can select any date. I just selected the first of the month, but it can be any date you wish to select. Now, do you collect taxes? This is based upon your tax compliance. So whenever you select a country, this will change. If you don't see anything here, you can check under your organization profile and settings. That usually contains your tax compliance information. If you don't see anything there, then you need to check whether or not we are compliant with your country. So let's click, do you collect tax? So we'll say yes, we click next. What does your business deal with? This is just to get you started. You can always change it later on in the settings. So does your company provide services, digital products, or inventory? So based upon what type of Shopify seller you are, you may need to tick services, digital products, and inventory. And whether you use pick, pack, ship services or multiple warehouse, you can activate it here as well. But you can always change it later in the settings if you require. Let's click All Set. Hold on tight, we're setting up your first organization. Inside here, you can create your first invoice, create your first expense, import your data, such as your chart of accounts, products, contacts, opening balance. But as a Shopify customer, you want to pull in your products and contacts from Shopify. So most likely you will not be using this. And you'll be able to connect to your bank. But first, let's click on Settings, click on Organization Profile, and click on the pencil icon. Inside here, we can add an image. Select the image, click open, and you can see the image appear here. I can see the name, the tax registry, I can see the date format and change it accordingly. Under finance, I can see the finance start date, book beginning date, reporting currency. I can see the number of decimal places, 2, 3, 4. Please take note, I can go down, but I cannot go back up. I can go to larger decimal places, but I cannot go to smaller number of decimal places after I select a larger one. For example, if I select 4, I cannot go back to 3 or 2. You can select the number format here. I can enable multi-currency. For example, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar. I can search. For example, the euro. And I can save. Next, we can go to compliance. And under compliance, this all depends on your tax registry. So for example, under organization, I selected US, so that's why it's showing US tax compliance. If I select another country, it should show that tax compliance under here. So since it's showing US, I'm just putting in the tax ID and where you collect taxes. For example, Texas and California. Next, let's select address. So let's input the address here. So for example, 1900 E Street, Fresno. And you can see it pops up here, and I can select it, and the information populates. Let's add another address. So for example, 755 E, Nez, Fresno. And you can see it populates, and I just click it, and it populated. Now under here, I can set this as my current billing address or my current shipping address. And then I can update. Now inside here, you can see all the data has now been updated successfully. Now let's go to settings and let's click on currency. Inside here, I can see the currency, the code, the symbol, the exchange rate date, the visibility, and the action. change rate or view rate. So for example, if I want to see the Swiss franc currency, I just can click on the eye icon and now it's activated. If I want to activate multiple, I can select, for example, Thai baht and the peso, and I can click activate up here. Now if I want to deactivate a currency, I can just click on the eye icon again. Or if I want to disable multiple, I can just select on the currencies here and click deactivate. Now if I want to view and change the rate for the visible currencies, I can click change rate here. And I can see the exchange rate, the effective date, and the timestamp. And I can update it directly on the screen and click save. Now if I want to view the rate of the non-visible currencies, I can click view rate here. And I can see the exchange rate, effective date, and timestamp. Next, let's click on settings and let's click on payment terms. Inside here, I can see the name, the term days, and the quick action. So I can set this as default. I can add a payment term here. For example, net 60. I can input the term days, and I can also use as default by clicking here, and I can save. Let's click settings, and let's click unit of measurement. Inside here, I can see the name, and the description, and the quick action. I can also add UM here. For example, I can add in MT or metric tons, and I can save it. Next, let's click on settings, and let's click on custom fields, and let's click on create. Inside here, I can create my additional custom fields like text box, multi-select drop-down numbers. So it's all based upon what you required. So for example, additional remarks, I can put the length maybe 1000. Click availability, maybe I want this in my quotation, bills, invoice, purchases, and I want to create. I can also click create, and if I want a multi-selection drop-down box. For example, maybe I want some additional information like color. So maybe I want color for like blue, black, red. Click next. And maybe I want to put this under my products, and I can create it for my color. Next, let's click on settings. Inside here, we have our document template, audit log, import log, bulk import, and email. So inside here is where you can put in the sender name, sender email address, username, password, host, server host name, and port number. After you fill in all this information, then you can start sending your invoices based upon this email address. Before, if you don't set this up, it's sent by Deskera. Then we have our sequence number format. We have our common sequence format, which is quote, invoice, order, all have the same default sequence. And we have separate sequence format, meaning that you want to have different indications for each one, meaning a different number for each one, like quotation, sales invoice, order, and purchase invoice. And you can click here and you can add new, so I can set up each custom design number format for each different type of transaction. If everything looks good, I can click confirm, confirm. Let's click on apps. And we need to go to ecom. Inside here, we can click on Shopify, and we connect your Deskera account by clicking connect. Then we choose the company, authorize. Now we're connected. Now we can go back to our Shopify and connect Shopify store. Next, let's go to Shopify. Inside here, I'm at the home page. Let's click on apps and let's click manage private apps. Next, let's create a new private app. Inside here, we're going to input the private app name. So maybe like Deskera Test 101, emergency developer email. And then here, we're going to show inactive admin API permissions, and we're going to give them access. So we can decide on what access we want to give them. I'm just going to give them all access. But again, you can choose what access you want to give. But you better give access to definitely products, contacts, and the transactions so that we can pull it in. Shopify payments. And then we can just save it. And we can click Create App. API credentials saved. API credentials saved. And inside here, we can see the private app name. We can see the API key, password, example URL, shared secret, the admin API permissions. And if everything looks good, we can go back and you can see that the private app's been created. Then we can go to Deskera Ecom. Inside here, we're going to input the store name. So for example, shoes demo 101, the store URL. And then we're going to input the Shopify API key. You can find that by going back to Shopify, clicking on your private app. And then inside here you can see the API key and you can copy it. And then we're just going to paste it here. And I'm going to go back and copy the password. So this is the API password. It's inside here. Control V, and then I'm going to save it. And now it's been connected. Next we're going to go to Books Accounting, and we're going to select the different types of accounts. So for example, we're going to select the purchase account. So let's go here and select current purchases. Let's go and select the sales account. So sales. We're going to select the purchase return account. So it can be purchases, purchase return, occurred purchases, occurred purchase return. And just take note, you can create your own chart of accounts and it'll reflect inside here. Just make sure you connect after you create the accounts. When I mean connect to your Deskera account. Next, let's go to sales return. So let's go select the sales return account. Let's select the accounts payable, the accounts receivable. Let's select the purchase account, sales account, sales tax account, purchase tax account, the cost of goods sold, inventory. Let's see, inventory. Adjustment account, stock adjustment, and your warehouse. After this is all selected, you can go and save it. Now your accounts config updated. Next, we're going to click on Enable Sync. So sync has been enabled. Now if I go to my orders, I should be able to see my orders here. My customers, I should see my customers, and I should be able to see my products as well. Now let's click on products. Inside here, we can see all the products have now sunk to Deskera Books based upon the sync status. It all says success. If we go to customers, we can see it's also been sunk. And if we go to orders, we can also see it's been sunk. Now let's go to books. And now let's click on products. Inside here, I can see all my products that was originally in Shopify. If I click on my contacts, I can see my contacts from Shopify. And if I click on sell, I can see my invoices from Shopify. And you can see that they've not been fulfilled and no payment has been done. But once a payment is done in Shopify, this information will be updated. Same thing with fulfillment. Once this has been fulfilled, this will also be updated. Next, let's click on accounting. Inside here, we can see our chart of accounts, journal entry, opening balance, debit note, credit note, expense, deposit, and financial year closing. So let's click on financial year closing. Inside here, we can select the closing period. Is it monthly, quarterly, yearly, or custom? And we can select the retained earning account. After that, we can just click here on closing period and close it, or we can click on the settings icon to make changes. If I click close, I can put in the period name, the year, and the month. Of course, this changes based upon what you selected earlier. Also under accounts, we have our journal entries. So this is where you can create your different journal entries, a normal or a fund transfer. Next, we can click on opening balances. Inside here, I can see my chart of accounts, and this is where I can input my openings for that. I can click on inventory and put in my openings there, as well as my contacts, where I can input my opening invoices and my opening purchases. We also have the import option for each one. Next, let's go to banks. Inside here, I can add a bank, and I can enter a bank name. So for example, Wells Fargo. I can update the code, currency I can put in a description. I can click save and next. Now we see that Deskera uses Plaid to link your banks. So let's get started. And you may just see your bank right on the screen. So I can click on Wells Fargo and put my username and password. If not, I can just search for the bank by typing in the bank name here. And I can see if it's here, and if it is, then I can connect to it. For example, Union Bank, put in the user ID password. If you do not wish to connect to the bank, just click the X sign here, and then click skip. Your bank has been successfully created. Now, if you connect it to your bank, or you've imported a statement, you can create different bank rules. So inside here, you can put in the name, the type, credit or debit, the filters here. For example, description, payee, transaction, date, or amount. And then based upon the filters, you can determine how it should be created. And do you believe in review and create first or auto create first? So you can decide review and create or auto create. After that, the transactions will be created in the system based upon the rules you've decided. Next, let's go to reports. Inside here, you can see all your financial reports like your profit and loss, general ledger, your reconciliation reports, your account statement of accounts for customer and vendor, your tax report. So this changes based upon your statutory compliance. Each country has different tax reports. So you'll see this change here. Your purchase reports, such as your age payable, debit note, outstanding purchase goods receipt report is anything pending from what you're buying. You can see your stock availability by warehouse report. So if you have more than one warehouse, you can see that here. You can also see your stock aging report, stock ledger report, your sales return, purchase return, and under sales, you can see your outstanding sales fulfillment report, sales by contact, invoice, receipt list, and any credit notes. So you can look at these reports and see which ones you require. Now we're at the dashboard screen. Inside here, I can see the organizations, people, deals lost, deals won, contact report, upcoming activities, deal stage, deal won versus deals lost, campaigns, and tickets. You'll notice that there's not a lot of data in here because, of course, we haven't created anything yet. But you'll notice we have two organizations. The reason for that is Deskera Books will sync its contacts to Deskera Sales, and Deskera Sales will sync its contacts to Deskera Books. So Deskera Books and Deskera Sales will always be aligned by this. Next, let's go to settings. Inside here, we have user settings and we have team settings. So what is team settings? In contact and deals, you can change the visibility. Is it private, only for the owner and sub-owner? Is it for the team? Can the team see it? Or is it for everyone? So if you decide the visibility for the contact or the deal is team, this is where you can create the teams and decide which team gets to see which contact and which deal. So inside here, I just can add members to each team that I want to. We have, of course, custom fields. And this is where I can create a custom field. And you have the same fields that we have in books with a couple additional ones. So we have text box, single selection drop-down menu, numbers, the same as in Deskera Books. But we also have country, currency, and date. And you can add these to contacts and deals. We also have email. This is where you connect your email, put the sender name, email address, username, password. You can put in the incoming mail server and port, outgoing mail server and port, and do you allow non-secure certificates, and then you can save it and connect. By connecting your email, you'll be able to send emails directly from Deskera Sales. You can click on Contact and then send an email from there, or click on deal and select a deal and then send an email from there. After the email is sent, the contact can then reply and it'll also be recorded inside the deal or inside the contact. That way your mail exchange will all be in one location for you to review. Next, let's click on integration settings. So this is where you can integrate with Microsoft 365, Google Tag Manager, webhooks. We also have guides. So this is where you can add in your support domain, for example. And then I can search. And it says everything must be lowercase, so just make sure that's lowercase, search. And then I can assign it. After that, I can put in my hero image, my logo, my favicon. Under settings, I can activate the help center, and I can remove the Powered by Deskera logo. And after that, I can save and open, and I can also skip to create articles. So for example, if I save to open, I'm taken to my page. This is where I can add in my articles under my different sections like announcements or FAQ. I can of course create more sections as well. Let's go to tickets. Inside here is where I can add support email. I can put in my sender name, email address, username, password. So it's exactly the same thing as setting up your email. The difference is this is for your support emails. So when a contact decides to send an email using the email that you've connected here, it will automatically create a ticket in the system, and then you can respond to it and then follow up. We have the audit trail, so you can track everybody. We have your preferences. So this is where you can turn off Powered by Deskera logo in Campaign and Web to Form. We of course have your import log, so you can see what's imported correctly and not. Next, let's go to contacts. So inside here I can see my 2 contacts that we originally sung from Shopify, and it's flown from Shopify to books and now books to sales. And then I can go change it. For example, if I want to change the label, I can change the label. So cold, warm, hot, custom, and I can create my own label here. So let me select warm. Actually, let me change one to cold as well. I can also select to change the visibility. I can change the sub-owner, I can delete, copy, export, or edit. I can also change the columns. So for example, if I want my labels to be in front, I don't want to see the phone number. I want to see, let's see, sub-owner. I can just drag and drop and put it up here and save. And you can see it completely changed the arrangement based upon my requirements. Next, let's go to marketing. Inside here, we have our segments. So this is where I can create my segment. So add segment. Maybe let's call this computer segment. I can add a description. I can select who I want to be in this segment. And based upon how many contacts you have, we have the filter option. So this is where you can filter by owner, sub-owner, visibility, label, and also by custom field. So you can create a custom field, and then from there, you can then decide how you want to filter it out. That way you select only the contacts you want, and then you can save it. Next, let's go to emails. Inside here, we can add an email template, or you can select one of our pre-designed ones. I can put in the name. I can add in the different information here, for example, a half section. I can go add in, for example, image. Then I can go look on my desktop or look where I have images. And let's see, any good images do I have here? Yep, this one looks nice. Click add image, and you can see the image of my flowers here. Then I go here and just drag a text. And this is where I can say, for example, hi. And then I can select a placeholder. So for example, maybe first name or last name based upon your requirements. So how are you doing? I have a great offer for you. And again, we have multiple placeholders like first name, last name, full name, email, phone number, address, organization, and contact type that you can use. And of course, I can add a link. I can have list items. So for example, maybe I want to drop list items here, add pictures, put in titles. I can have full screen. I can view the code, so I can see the code here for my good old email. I can toggle the images on and off, and I have the import template. So if I have my own email template that I want to use and hide here, I can just paste it into here, and it should reflect. We also can see the different types of views, so desktop, tablet, and phone. So it's important that it all looks correct on the mobile phone, on the tablet, as well as on the computer, so that way when they look at it, it all looks good. After that, I can just save it. Next, we have forms. So inside here, I can add a form, and we have forms for contact as well as deal. So if I click on contact, for example, I just drag and drop the information I want. For example, maybe email, phone number. I can click on it and make it mandatory or not. So for example, maybe I want my email to be mandatory so I can contact them. I can just call this contact. I can create custom fields here to add. So add custom fields and then input it here. After that, I can click next. So after that, after they submit, what should happen? Should they see a display message or redirect to another page? So for example, maybe I want to redirect them to a home page after they submit. Also, I can select follow-up properties. Who should be sent a email notification to, assigned to any sub-owner. The visibility, is it private, team, or everyone? And what label? Is it considered cold, warm, hot, or a customer? And then I can publish. After that, I can view my form here. I can copy the link. And this is my code. So this is where I'm going to copy my code and then put it into my web page. That way, the good old form will appear there, and then the customer can fill in the information. And after he fills in the information from the web page, it'll automatically create a contact in my system. If it's a deal form, it'll automatically create a deal into my system, so that way I always can see what's going on. Next, let's click on campaign, and let's create a campaign. We can input the campaign name. So for example, maybe June campaign. Subject, June sales event, for example. Category name, for example, computer sales, but you can always add additional categories here. I can select my segment, or I can create a segment here. I can select my email template, and I can say use this template. After that, if everything looks good, I can save, but I can always change it by using these and just dragging and dropping. After that, I can click next. I can put in the sender name, but if I want to use my own, I can click use my own, and I can click add email, and I can put in the sender name, email address, username, password, the outgoing mail server, outgoing mail port, and allow non-secure certificates. And I can add up to 5 accounts. But let's use Deskera email services. So I'm just typing in the sender name and putting in the sender email address. All right, and then I can click verify email. Since it's the first time, a link will be sent to my email, and then after that, I just have to click verify. So after I verify my email and it says everything is verified, then I can refresh it. So let's refresh. Email is verified. So we can schedule for later. For example, maybe I want to schedule this for 6:30 on the 22nd, and I set it. I can send a test email, back, save, draft, or schedule. Let's schedule it. And let's go to campaign, and I can see my scheduled campaign right here. Next, let's go to services. Inside here, I can see my different guides. So I can see my different sections. I can add a section, and I can also add an article. Inside here is where I'm able to put my title and my description. So for example, if I go to Deskera.com/here. All right, I'm just going here, and I'm just going to copy one of these articles. For example, how to do bulk import of contacts, just to give you an idea. I'm going to paste it, and you can see the information is showing. I can cut it, edit the title. So you can create in the side here, or you can go and create it somewhere else and just paste it on inside. After that, you can choose the visibility, signed in users or everyone. I can select which section I want. And I can select the author, and I can preview it. So it's best to preview to make sure everything looks correct. And after that, I have a choice. I can save, if I just click on save, or I can click on publish by clicking on this drop down. And if I click on that and click publish, it'll be published to my help center. So I'm just going to save it for now. Next, let's click on support. Inside here, I can see my different views. I can see any tickets that have been created. I can click here, manage your ticket views. And I can add a ticket view. So for example, if I want to just see David's tickets, for example, I can select the field. So for example, signee, condition is value David. I can also add other conditions. So for example, maybe priority is not low. I only want to see high, normal, and urgent, for example. And I continue to add conditions here. Once everything's good, I can save it. And my condition has been added. Next, let's go to deals. So let's make a deal. Inside here, I can see our default pipeline, but if I want to create my own, I just can click Add Pipeline. Then I can add my different stages here, put in my stage name, for example, lead, opportunity, and I can put in my help text, my probability, and the rotting days, how many days before this deal goes rotten. After that, I can save it. But we're going to use our default pipeline for here, so let's create a deal. I can click on the plus signs to create a deal, or I can click Create Deal directly here. After that, I can put the deal name in. I can select the organization, and if I want to, I can add a contact person. And it'll be automatically created. I can put any sub-owner, put in the value. Yep. Select the pipeline, select the stage, closing date, deal date. So I can save it. And you can see that my deal has been created. After that, I can drill in. I can click on the three dots, edit the deal or delete it. Once I connect my email, I can send out email directly from here, and any email reply to will come back. I can log an email. I can click activities and create an activity. So for example, maybe a call. And let's schedule that for maybe the 21st at, what's it called? Let's say 2 p.m. Sounds good. Set. I can select the contact person. So for example, maybe it's organization, David, contact person. David. And then I can send reminder email to assignees or send reminder email to contacts, and then I can save it. Now it's been saved, and I can see my call here. It's a future activity. I can go to notes. I can input notes here. I can do a log, see the logs. And then after that, I can just drag and drop. So for example, to presentation scheduled, contact sent, and then I can just drag it to won or lost, or I can drill in and click deal won or deal lost here as well. Next, let's go to activities. Inside here, I can see all the different activities, and I can generate a calendar URL. This URL, I can then attach it to my different types of calendars, and then I can have all my activities here pulled into that calendar so I can see what's going on. I can also see a list view here, so I can see all my activities, all to do, all completed. I can click on call, meeting, task, deadline, so I can filter out here as well. And now you can see that our data is populated on our dashboard. And that was a quick look at CRM. Next, let's click on the switch to, and let's click on people. Inside here, we can see our company name. We can select our country, for example, United States of America. We can input our address. We can autofill it in by selecting it. We can put in our schedule. And we can select the pay period. Is it monthly, weekly, twice per month, or bi-weekly? We can select the work week. Is it Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, or Tuesday? You can just select the days you want here. What is the payday and the first pay date? You can select here as well. And you can have more than one pay schedule because many companies may have multiple. So you can set that up later. Inside here, we're going to add the first employee name. So let's say Frank Thomas. We can input the email address. Put in the basic salary. And we can select per year, per month, or per hour. And I recommend you to use our import option if you have a lot of employees, and also create them at the employee tab, as there's statutory requirement information that also needs to be filled in. Then we can click finish. Thank you. Sit back and relax while we're setting up your organization. Now we're all set up. Next, let's click on settings. Inside here we have our company settings, so I can see my company information, work week, offboarding checklist. Based upon the country's compliance, you may also see additional information that is required. This is all based upon which country you selected when setting it up. We have our performance, so this is the appraisal cycle schedule. So this is where you can select the appraisal due and the appraisal period frequency. So this is a date field here. I can input my questions. Under tax details, so again, based upon your statutory compliance or country compliance, this we're going to fill in this information. It changes based upon countries. We have our Payslip Designer. This is where we can create our custom payslip. Inside here, I can just drag in text fields or dividers, earnings, deductions, and footer. If I do a text field, I can then select the placeholder. This information, of course, changes based upon which country you selected. It's all based upon compliance. We can see the import log here as well. And under employees, we can go to employee list. I can click here and edit. So I can input the designation, input the date of birth, input the joining date, input in the address, and you can see it populates. I can set the effective date for salary if I want to, so I can say effective from and the amount. Or I can just select the employee type, full-time, part-time, casual, shift worker, probation, or out worker, and put the basic salary in the pay period. I can select the payment details. Is it direct deposit, cash, or check? I can click next. I can put in any fixed components here, any variable components, any benefits. And inside here is the statutory compliance. So this is just based upon which country you've selected. Each country will have something different. And I can select the information here. And then I can save it. After that, I can click on pay schedule. I can create additional pay schedules here. Under payroll, I can click on pay run and I can add a pay run. I can select my pay schedule, select the work period. Is it applicable to all users or specific users? For example, maybe Frank Thomas. And then we can proceed. Now inside here, I can see my employee, any overtime. So I can set it up here. And I can change this factor. For example, if I want to change it to 4. Loss of pay, additional earnings, your deductions, and your employer tax, and your net pay. And of course, this changes based upon which country you selected. Like, for example, this is US, so you have federal, California tax, or federal and state taxes here. We can click next. We can see all the information, and we can process the payroll. Now it says, to ensure accuracy, please review your payroll numbers and make sure they are 100% correct. Do you wish to continue to process payroll? Yes. Then we give you the summary here. If everything looks good, then we can click finish. And then our payroll has been complete. After that, I can click on employee list, drill on into the employee, and I can see my good old payslip here. So I can click on this, and I've downloaded my payslip. I can open it and see all my information. After that, we can go to reports, and inside here you can see your payroll summary report and your tax compliant reports. So inside here, the reports will change based upon which country is selected. So for example, I can see my W-4, my W-2, my W-3, my W-9, my 1099s, my Form 941, Form 944, and Form I-9. So this is all based upon the fact that I selected the United States. But if I select a different country, this information will change accordingly. Next, let's click on eLeave. Inside here, I can click on Settings, Leave Management, New Leave Type, and I can create a leave. So for example, annual leave. I can put in the number of days per year. I can see the leave prorate, leave accrual on, and do I want to carry forward my leaves? I can say carry forward leave days, so I can say here, for example, 14, and I can say my minimum balance is maybe 28. Put in a leave description here. I can select, does this apply for a specific gender? You can consider this like maternity or paternity leave. Marital status. Do you allow for unpaid leave? And is it based upon years of service-based entitlement? For example, maybe 1 through 5, you get 10. 5 through 10, you get 12. And maybe 10 through 50, for example, you get 14. This is just an example. You can set up how you'd like. And then after that, we can save it. And our leave has been created. We have leave adjustments, so this is where you can do the leave adjustment. Yearly holiday, so this is where you can add your new holiday, like 4th of July. Then you can select the date. So for example, let's go to 4th of July. Add any descriptions. Does it recur every year or it's just one time? An example of one time may be Chinese New Year. It changes based upon different years. I mean, every year is different. So you can always, select one time here as well. We can click on leave management. I can see my employees, but the key thing here is teams. The reason for this is that you'll be creating different teams and you'll be assigning someone as manager and the other people as users. So that way, you know who's approving. For example, if Frank Thomas applies for a leave, David is the one who's going to be approving it. Under company settings, of course, we can see our company details and our work week. Next, let's go to expenses. Inside here, we can go to admin settings, and we can create different groups because you may have different groups that need to approve of different expenses. So for example, if I create a group, I can assign a manager and the employees under them. So for example, under our default group, I can see the admin. I can add members. So for example, I want to add Frank Thomas, and Frank Thomas is a member. Then I can assign a manager to it, and they can do the approval process. Next, let's go to categories. Inside here, I can create a new category. For example, maybe golf. And I can assign it to my different expense groups. So currently I only have default expense groups, so I'm just assigning it under that. But if you have more than one, like sales, HR, operations, based upon your requirements, you may have multiple groups. You can assign different categories based upon that. After that, I can go to the expense dashboard and I can click new claim and I can create a claim here. And that was a quick look at Deskera People.